What's up guys, my name is Ryan and I just spent 10 days exploring the incredible Amalfi Coast and I want to show you my favorite places. So here's my Amalfi top 10. The Amalfi Coast is easily one of the most beautiful coastlines in the world. From the magical town of Positano to the hillside villas of Ravello, the Amalfi Coast is a destination that needs to be experienced. Let's start this video off in Fiordo di Furore. This is one of the coolest beaches I've ever been to. It's located in this little fjord, complemented with an incredible arch bridge. Now to get to the beach, there's no car parking, so probably the best way to get here is by taking a bus or driving a Vespa over. It's a true paradise for cliff jumping. There's tons of spots you can jump from different heights. I had such a fun time setting some flips into the sea. The water felt so good to be in. I swam over to the other side of the bridge and found some more cliffs to jump off. When you swim under the bridge, you just can't believe how huge it is. Honestly, such an incredible spot. You gotta visit while you're on the Amalfi Coast. After Furore, we're going to take a walk on the Path of the Gods. This is a super famous hike, and with reason. You'll get some of the best views of the Amalfi Coast when you do this hike. Now you start in this town called Bomorano and end in the village called Nocelle. All in all, the hike is about 8 kilometers long. It takes you about 3 hours to do. On the hike, you'll have incredible views basically the whole way. There's tons of ancient houses and hillside farms contrasted with the views of the coast. It's basically all downhill, which is super nice. If you do the hike, I definitely recommend doing it early to avoid the heat and the crowds. It can get freaking hot up there. When you get about halfway down with the hike, you'll be able to get your first views of Positano. I mean, it looks so cool from up there. When we reached the town of Nocelle, the hike sadly wasn't over. We were freaking exhausted, and thankfully we found this little place that had delightful fresh lemon slushies to cool us down. Afterwards, we had to walk down over 1,700 stairs to reach the main road in Arienzo. It took my calves and knees several days to recover from that hike, but it was worth it every step of the way. Now afterwards, we're going to visit Positano. Now this may be the most popular place on the Amalfi Coast, and when you go there, you'll understand why. It's full of beautiful colored buildings, shops, and a scenic beach. One of my favorite things I did in Positano was rent a boat. It's the perfect way to escape the crowds and you'll get the best views of the Amalfi Coast. It cost about 180 euros to rent a boat for 3 hours, and while it was a little pricey, it was 100% worth it. It was my first time driving a boat, and it's honestly not that hard. We were able to cruise all over the coast and make stops along the way just to soak in the sun and jump into the sea to do some snorkeling. When we were out there, we were surrounded by some mega yachts, and it's crazy to look at the footage and see how small our boat is compared to them. So I definitely recommend visiting Positano, and if you can, rent a boat. After cruising around Positano, we're going to visit the city of Amalfi. It's a beautiful town located in a ravine surrounded by daunting cliffs. They filmed several scenes of Christopher Nolan's film Tenet here. Now during medieval times, Amalfi was the capital of the maritime republic known as the Duchy of Amalfi and was an important trading power from the 9th to 12th centuries. While we were there, we explored the town. I really enjoyed the public square with all its restaurants, shops, and beautiful church. Afterwards, we explored the beaches and coast around Amalfi, and we walked along the pier and got some great views of the entire town, which is such an incredible city. Afterwards, we're going to visit the small town of Atrani. Now it's located right next to Amalfi, and I have to say that Atrani is one of my favorite looking towns in all the coast. You can get here from Amalfi by walking through some tunnels. Now Atrani just looks so cool from the coast. The road that goes through it is just so unique, especially the part that winds around with its beautiful arches. A fun fact is that Atrani is the smallest city in all of Italy with a population around 800. I went inside the town, and honestly, there wasn't too much to see, but it said that Atrani is the only town along the coast that preserved its antique, traditional characteristics. Another feature I really liked about the city was its beach. It's just a perfect place to soak up some Mediterranean sun. Afterwards, we're going to drive up the mountains to visit Ravello. Now this is one of the highest set towns on the Amalfi Coast, as it's located 365 meters above sea level. Ravello was founded all the way back in the 5th century, and it was where the King of Italy lived for a while during World War II. I was pleasantly surprised by Ravello. I mean, it's just such a charming town. We went and explored the Villa Ruffalo. It cost a few euros to get in, and it's this beautiful Moorish-style villa that was built during the 13th century. During its time, it was one of the largest and most expensive villas on the Amalfi Coast. They hold orchestra and opera concerts there with one of the most incredible views I've ever seen. It'd be so cool to watch someone like Andrea Bocelli sing there. Now, while you're in Ravello, you can walk in alleyways or spend some time eating gelato in the public square. Definitely one of my favorite towns on the Amalfi Coast. After, we're going to head to the town of Minori. Now, it's located right below Ravello. Minori is just this beautiful little town, and it's believed to be the oldest inhabited site on the Amalfi Coast, as it was an ancient holiday resort for the Romans all the way back in 1st century AD. Now, right next to Minori is the larger town of Maiori. Similar to Maiori, Maiori has been a popular tourist resort since Roman times. It's also home to the longest beach on the Amalfi Coast. I had a good time walking along the boardwalk, also checking out the port and pier. Both Maiori and Minori are great destinations you gotta visit while you're here. Now afterwards, we're going to visit Praiano. Now situated right between Positano and Amalfi, we stayed several days here in an Airbnb and I really enjoyed it. It's not nearly as touristy as Positano, so I think it's a great place to stay if you come to the Amalfi Coast. Now while we were in Praiano, one fun thing we did is we walked down to the Spiaggia di Praia. You go through some narrow pathways and we made it down to the beach. It's a great place to chill and swim. I also rented a boat here for sunset and it was about 120 euros for 3 hours, so a little cheaper than renting from Positano. And I just can't say enough, if you're on the Amalfi Coast, you gotta rent a boat. I mean, it may be a little expensive, but trust me, you're not going to regret it. You'll get the best views and you're secluded on your boat away from all the clouds, and you really get to soak in the beauty of the coastline. And if you can, I definitely recommend taking a boat ride for sunset. The lighting looks incredible on Positano. While we were out there boating, I mean, it didn't even feel real. The scenery is just some of the most beautiful on earth. It's truly mind-blowing. Now for our final destination, we're going to head over to the island of Capri. I've been wanting to go here for years and I have to say it lived up to the hype. Now technically, Capri isn't on the Amalfi Coast, but we're going to add it because it's right next to it and it's freaking epic. Now to get to Capri, you can take a boat tour or ferry from a town such as Positano. I wanted to stay a few nights, so we took a ferry from Sorrento and got an Airbnb in Anna Capri. I will say the island was a little hectic. The roads were the smallest I've ever seen. Nonetheless, if you go to Capri, you gotta see it by boat. Whether you take a tour or rent one yourself, I rented a boat for 4 hours and it cost 120 euros. We decided to loop the entire island. We passed the lighthouse on the very western tip and stopped near the massive cliffs on the southern side. Then we sailed over to the Fariglioni. There are these incredible sea stacks that jet right out of the sea. They were the main reason I wanted to go to Capri. I had such a good time jumping off the boat there and marveling at the Fariglioni. Again, we were just surrounded by so many mega yachts. I was feeling confident, so I decided to drive through the arch in the Fariglioni. It looks small, but once you go through it, you realize how big it is. It was just so fun over there. After that, we drove around to the eastern part of the island and anchored near the Grotta Bianca. We jumped off and had a great time swimming in the crystal clear Mediterranean waters. I mean, coming from the States, the clarity and warm waters of the Mediterranean Sea just blows my mind. There's really nothing like it. After we returned our boat, we went to Monte Solaro. Now, it's the highest point on the island with an elevation of 589 meters. To get to the top, you can take a chairlift for about 10 euros a person. The views are absolutely incredible. It was nearing sunset, so there was an orange glow all over the island. I was right by some massive cliffs that dropped into the sea. The Fariglioni looks so small from up there. Anyways, I just had such a fun time, and it's something you gotta do while you're in Capri. Well, that is it for my Amalfi Coast top 10. It's truly one of the most magical places I've ever been, and I see myself coming back here many more times. Let me know where your favorite place is on the Amalfi Coast in the comments below. I also started a relaxation channel where I post hour-long films of beautiful places across the world. I just released a film on the Amalfi Coast that I think you'll enjoy. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at shirley.films. It's Ryan, and we will see you later.